I'd like to start by thanking everyone for joining us this morning for the 6th Annual Inland Southern California Economic Forecast Conference. I'm Sharif Hanna, the Deputy Director of the new UCR Center for Economic Forecasting and Development at the School of Business Administration. We're excited about this morning's program, and we hope you're going to walk away with some exciting insights for what is, as you'll see today, turning out to be an incredibly fast-growing and constantly evolving community. To open the event, I'd like to ask the Dean of the School of Business Administration, Dr. Yun Zhang Wang, to please come up and say a few words. In 2011, Dr. Wang was named interim dean, and in February 2014 was officially appointed dean by UC Riverside Chancellor Kim Wilcox. An internationally known scholar, Dean Wang is also a distinguished scholar in supply chain management and professor of finance and management sciences at UC Riverside. He's been on faculty since 2008 and was formerly Dean Associate of Academic Programs. Please help me welcome Dean Wang to the stage.
We are very proud how this conference has grown over the years, both in its size and impact, and how it offers a platform for members of the inland Southern California community to come together and discuss the economic health of the region. First, I would like to thank the many sponsors who helped make this conference a success. Partnering with the region's vibrant business community is what we are all about at UCR, as well as at the School of Business Administration. This is the 6th year that this conference has taken place, but today's event is particularly significant. For the first time, this conference is hosted by our newly established UCR Center for Economic Forecasting and Development. The Center for Economic Forecasting and Development is the first world-class university forecasting center in inland Southern California. The launch of this center is a major new initiative of the UCR School of Business Administration for Economic Research and Collaboration. A university plays one of the most pivotal roles in a community's economic and social landscape. This center and the work and insight that come out of it will allow UCR and the School of Business Administration to expand its engagement in the region and contribute impactful research to the dialogue going on about inland Southern California's economy. I want to take a few steps back to the history of how this center came to be and give credit where credit is due. I must emphasize that this is a community-supported initiative. The momentum to create this center can be attributed to the community and its key members who expressed the desire for a greater level of engagement with us, the School of Business Administration. I want to thank those individuals for their contributions, for the time they have invested, as well as the financial support they have provided. It is our collective vision that the center will act as a hub of collaboration where innovative development ideas and strategy can emerge from interaction between researchers and the region's business and government leaders. You know, UCR is making strides toward the future and moving at a phenomenal pace with the vision to be a generator of knowledge, growth, and opportunities for the region. And the School of Business Administration is matching that pace. This new center is one of the ways that we are acting on a grand vision for the school. We are currently drafting a new 5-year strategy that will guide the School of Business Administration forward in the years to come. Some of the key goals of this strategy include doubling the size of our faculty, create additional world-class centers of excellence, and constructing a new state-of-the-art building. This is a transformational time for the School of Business Administration at UCR, with very ambitious goals, and we will continue to depend on and appreciate your support and involvement in the coming years. Now, many of you know Christopher Thornburg, who has been at the center of this conference each year. Today, I'm proud to announce that Dr. Thornburg has been appointed as the founding director of the UCR Center for Economic Forecasting and Development, and as an adjunct professor in the School of Business Administration at UCR. Many of you also know that Chris is the founding partner of Beacon Economics and widely considered to be one of California's leading economic forecasters. An expert in economic forecasting, Chris was one of the earliest and most adamant predictors of the housing market crash and of the economic recession that has followed. Among other things, Chris currently serves on California State Treasurer John Chang's Council of Economic Advisors. Chris holds a PhD in business economics from the Anderson School at UCLA and a BS in business administration from the State University of New York at Buffalo. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chris.
Welcome to the Inland Southern California Forecast event. You know, it's interesting, if you've been paying attention to the news, you realize over the last couple of weeks it's been kind of, I don't know, as opposed to sweeps week, it's been forecast week, if you will, in Southern California. There's been a whole bunch of them going on. For those of you who have been more than one of these events over the last couple of weeks, you have saved the best for last. For those of you who've chosen to only come to this one, you made the right decision. So, welcome, and we're very glad to be here with you. You know, it's funny. As you know, of course, this morning is a pretty special occasion. I am now director of this new center at UC Riverside. And for me, I want to spend a couple minutes talking about that because they say the world goes in sort of a full circle. And here I am back in academia. And candidly, it's where I started, and I'm thrilled to be back. You know, many years ago, I sort of cut my teeth in this forecasting biz out at my alma mater, UCLA, and enjoyed that. But for any number of reasons, in 2006, it was time for me to sort of cut loose and do my own thing, and I started Beacon Economics. You know, when I started that venture, my first event, my first forecast conference, the first thing I ever did was come out here to the Inland Empire. It was my very first time writing a book and doing this kind of event and bringing people into the room. This place has always been very special to me, and being able to come out here and start my conferences, as the case may be, in this area, this place has always been very special to me on that front. So now we go almost a decade later, and we know this is our 6th year partnering with UC Riverside in terms of doing this event. It's always been a partnership between Beacon and UC Riverside, and this time Beacon's gone. I mean, we're still out there, or out, over on the west side. But here right now, I am the director of this new center, and again, to get back into the fold of academia for me is thrilling. Why the center? What is it all about? Look, when I left UCLA and I've seen those events and what were going on there, I realized very quickly the importance of these type of events. You know, you think about out the world out there, and there's these 3 major forces. There's government, there's business, and there's academia. And all 3 really are ultimately concerned with making this place better for its citizens, to continue to raise the Inland Empire up and make it a better place for everyone. But unfortunately, too often, those 3 entities tend to work in a vacuum. And a lot of times, the only time they really interact with each other is almost under contentious sort of circumstances. And that's not when you want to be sitting down and having conversations about what's the best thing to do, what are the best policies to run, how do we collectively work to make things better. The purpose of these events is about bringing these folks into the room, the business folks, the government folks, the academics, and having kind of a general conversation and getting these conversations going, creating these linkages, creating, if you will, these joint ideas. We were doing that once a year. Why the center? Because now we're doing it 365 days a year. UC Riverside is an enormous institution. It's a powerful institution. Along with Cal State San Bernardino, these two state public institutions are two of the most important forces for learning, teaching, for communication information. To bring this together with those forces, again, is really a first step in creating an ongoing conversation about what's happening out here. So we're thrilled. You're going to be seeing stuff from us all the time. It's no longer going to be a once-a-year event. It's going to be an ongoing conversation, all sorts of reports, all sorts of studies, and I can't tell you enough how much I'm looking forward to that. You know, this morning we're going to start out in our typical sort of way. We're going to start out with me kind of doing the state and national, international view on things. I'm going to have Jordan Levine come up here after me and do his local forecast of what you're really here for. And then after that, we're going to have an amazing panel. And a panel to discuss those linkages, the role of business and government and academia, and how we can communicate and cooperate jointly to push the economy forward, as the case may be. And of course, of all folks, one of my favorite people in the Inland Empire, Bruce Norris, is going to be moderating that panel. And again, I've been on stage typically under this man's microscope, as the case may be. It's going to be very nice for me on the other side, just watching him, shall we say, putting his microscope in somebody else. But it's going to be a fascinating panel. Make sure you stick around with it, around for it after the forecast itself. But before we move on, I do have to take a moment to sincerely thank this year's supporters. Obviously, the event sponsors are ultimately what drives this show. Our sponsors this year, we have a whole wonderful selection of them. Our gold sponsors, KPCC, Southern California Public Radio, my favorite radio station, bar none. Silver sponsor, the County of Riverside Economic Development Agency, thrilled to have them on board. Bronze sponsors, we have Chase, the Press Enterprise, Celis O'Brien. And of course, our exhibit booth sponsors include the City of Riverside, Provident Bank, the Greater Riverside Chamber of Commerce, and of course, the Norris Group themselves. You know, there's many other groups that are affiliated with this morning, and too many to even list. And I'll put the gas out there right now. Look, this center is about you. And if you want to be involved, let us know. We'd love to have you on board as part of next year's event. We'd love to talk to you before then. You know where we are. We have a whole new set of cards. We have an address on campus. Well, kind of. I think it's a post box, but soon it's going to be an address on campus. But find us, find someone from Riverside, and let's talk, because we'd like to get you involved in what we're going to be doing from here on out on a day-to-day basis, to say the very least. I should also take a moment to acknowledge that we have a group of visiting high school students. They are participating in the Schools of Business Administration's 3rd Annual Youth Financial Literacy Initiative. They're back there. Wave, guys. Hi. There you go. So thank you for being on board as well. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to leave a little early this morning. I don't know, something about classes and learning and all that kind of nonsense. I have no idea what's going on. But before we kick off, we have one last introduction to make. And I would like to ask Angelo Farouk to please come up and say a few words. Dr. Farouk is founding director of the UC Riverside Center for Economic Development and Innovation and is a partner in the Omnius Group. Since 2013, he's served as an appointee for Governor Jerry Brown and the California Workforce Investment Board. In 2015, he was appointed the California Controller Betty Yee's Council of Economic Advisors, a role in which he helped shape comprehensive tax reform processes, something we need quite a bit, to say the very least. So please help me welcoming Angelo Farouk.
I'm very excited, particularly about Chris and the Economic Forecast Center. There's going to be a lot of interesting synergies and collaboration that I'm going to speak about in a little bit. So I know that most of the people here in this room aren't surprised by the fact that the economic impact that the UC Riverside plays in this region is tremendous. It's over $750 million. But the question is what can the university be doing to support the capacity of our local communities to expand their economic activity and impact? And so that question was the impetus behind founding the Center for Economic Development and Innovation, which I founded late in 2013, actually, and it's based in Vice Chancellor for Research Michael Pisani's office. And so the idea really is how can we harness the tremendous resources of a university, whether it's the faculty, the intellectual capital, whether it's the students, the research and innovation, and how can we apply them to supporting community-based issues? And so that was really the vision of what the center is. And I'm going to share with you guys a little bit about some tangible examples of what that means in reality and give you a little preview of a project that we're actually going to be launching this month. But the complementary nature to the Center for Economic Forecast is that research and theory informs practice, and practice informs theory. And it's that dynamic of knowing that we are able to take the research and the innovations and how can we support the business community and the community at large. And so that's going to be the complementary dynamic between our respective centers. In terms of the projects that the center's been doing, one of the noteworthy ones has been the Inland SoCal Link iHub, which has been a collaborative effort between both Riverside and San Bernardino counties and promoting the trade corridor linking with the Port of Los Angeles. And we've actually set up a formal MOU with Mayor Garcetti's office directly. And the basis of this, which iHub is designated from the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development, is how can we spotlight and profile the region as a whole to retain as much foreign direct investment, jobs, industry from the international community. And by regionally marketing our economic development assets between Los Angeles, Riverside, and San Bernardino County combined, the Inland Empire really is able to raise its profile and take a larger intake of opportunities. So that's kind of the strategic purpose behind that. In relation to that, we recently secured a $15 million of funding from the Department of Labor that was led actually by Chaffey College, but our center at UCR is playing a four-year university role as a funded partner in that. But the focus on that is actually job training efforts, and it works closely with the WIBs, with Riverside County and San Bernardino County Workforce Investment Boards. And another example is the Excite Incubator. And this effort is unique because it actually was initiated by the County of Riverside, J.O.R. Rob Field in particular. And it's a partnership between the county, the city, and the university on how we can foster an innovation ecosystem that supports entrepreneurship. So just since under a year, we've actually already had one successful exit. We've had 5 companies been accepted, and we have fiber optic infrastructure that's 10 gigabyte per second to create a very interesting dynamic here in downtown Riverside, right across from the County Administrative Center, that we look to expand and flourish on, again, practical, applied entrepreneurial opportunities. And lastly, I just want to close by mentioning that the Center for Economic Development was a co-applicant with USC, my alma mater, on a Department of Commerce grant. And this effort has already been actually funded, and we're going to be starting this month. It's promoting the aerospace and defense advanced manufacturing industries. And so the idea is how can we, again, looking at this as a broader ecosystem between Department of Labor, Department of Commerce, Energy, and a variety of different agencies, how can we support that innovation infrastructure for this region to flourish with those specific industries? And that's actually going to be a 3-county effort, including Imperial County and the 2 Riverside and San Bernardino counties. So I look forward to engaging with all of you in terms of this dialogue and working closely with Dr. Chris Thornburg and the Center for Economic Forecast on how we can advance quality jobs and economic prosperity for this great region of opportunity. Thank you for having me.